All right. Episode 3, we are on. We are going to be speaking to another very special guest. I'm going to have Mariam Bahar on. She's been here for 21 years, settling into New Zealand. She's a teacher, contributing to the education sector, and she has a very powerful story to tell. Tune in. Switch it up now. Welcome to the show, Mariam.
Tēnā koe, Myron. Tēnā koutou ngā kai whakarongo mō tēnei wā. E mihi ana ki a koutou katoa. Ko Siripada tōku moenga, ko Mahaweli tōku awa, ko Muslim tōku iwi, ko Mariam Bahar tōku papa, ko Fatima Zina tōku mama, ko Mariam Bahar tōku ingoa, no Sri Lanka ho. I tai mai ho ki Aotearoa I te tau 2001. I tēnei wā kei te noho ahau ki Tāmaki Makaurau ki roto o Mangere. Hello, Myron. So I just did my little introduction in Māori. So I'll probably just say it in Te Reo Pākehā. So what I just said was greetings to everyone listening. My mountain is Siripada and my river is Mahaweli, which is in the beautiful island of Sri Lanka. And I came here in 2001 to New Zealand, and currently I live in South Auckland in Mangere.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that covered it, yes.
Now, can you do that without reading it?
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yes, but I was just nervous, that's why I was looking down, so I didn't want to stuff it up. So.
No, that's good. Your pronunciation is on point. I mean,
thank you.
Well, I guess, 21 years in New Zealand, I guess it should be on point. Is it 21 years total?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm also a maths teacher at Te Kora Māori o Ngā Tapuai, which is a full immersion Māori school. So I do learn quite a bit of reo there. Yeah.
Okay,
so
you want to give any special shout-outs to any students right now while we're on air?
All my students, especially whare ko te koe mā toru, but all the teachers, all the, it's like my family there. So
yeah. Well, you tell them to like and share these videos when they see them.
They did ask me to. They did say help me with my intro as well. I practiced on my students all the time. Yeah.
But thank you guys for doing that. No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So look, obviously you're familiar with what we do here. Obviously we're just getting started. This is episode 3. Thank you for joining us on episode 3. What we do here is pretty simple. I'm gonna keep it nice and easy. It's not an intense conversation.
Yes.
It's nice and easy. We can tackle a few tough subjects if you want to. But, man, look, we just want to get your story, find out a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Here at the Immigration Stat Us podcast, we just want to find the best way to illustrate, okay, this is what this person is. This is who she is or who he is, and pretty much illustrate why they come to New Zealand and get their story. So there's twofold, as I explained to you before in our phone conversation.
Yeah.
The first part of it is, hey, we want to see how the actual immigration travel part was, which may be a different story for you because you've been here much longer.
Yeah.
But you can briefly speak on it, or even if you want to mention your parents.
Sure.
The second part is, which really I want to hear about, is how you found just culturally, just moving in. I came over here for the first time in 2010. And I literally was saying things like, hey, could you take me to One Hunger? I was on the bus asking for One Hunger. And that situation itself, is comical to some people. But for me that day, it was hot. It was hot outside. I just wanted to get to my destination.
Yes, yeah.
I'm on a bus. I'm like, hey, take me to One Hunger, please. My girlfriend's waiting. No, I need to go to One Hunger. And like, what? One Hunger, please. One Hunger. And then somebody's in the back of the bus like, mate, you mean only hunger?
Only hunger.
Oh, yeah, take me over there, please. Just the cultural stuff.
Yes,
Even the way you communicate to bus drivers in Chicago is totally different than over here. But yeah, that's another conversation. It ain't about me today, it's about you.
Yes.
So first and foremost, at least I'm able to make you giggle. I'm trying to make you comfortable.
Oh, I'm always laughing. Oh, I'm giggling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look. So tell us. All right. So you've been there for 21 years. Mm-hmm. So where are you originally from?
So I was born in Sri Lanka, in Kandy. That's sort of in the middle of the country. beautiful, beautiful place. And then I grew up in Marvinella, which is not too far away. And as opposed to growing up around family members, because my dad worked in a rubber estate, so it was just it was almost like comparison to living in a farm. We lived away from our family. But it was a really nice childhood. I really enjoyed my childhood because it was such a carefree way of living, I suppose. But the downfall, I suppose, for that time, at that particular time, was the fact that Sri Lankan Muslims were a minority and there was a lot of violence. There was a civil war going on and there was a lot of disadvantage to being Sri Lankan Muslim, but targeted by Sri Lankans themselves. So it was quite confusing as a child to grow up knowing that your own people are discriminating against you because of your religion, but more importantly, because the way you look, because we look different as Sri Lankan Muslims. Not all Sri Lankan look the same. So you can identify different ethnicity different beliefs depending on how you look. So that was quite scary in itself, that to be identified as Sri Lankan Muslim and then potentially, you could be attacked or you could not be. It really depends. And then I quite remember when I was little that my town, it was just, there was riots and, it was quite scary. It was quite scary growing up. But obviously my parents were very much protected and I wasn't really, fortunately, never seen it with my own eyes, but seen it around me. And, that was actually quite scary. But apart from that, I'd like, environmental wise, loved my childhood, like growing up in that part of the country and, having rivers, having mountains. It was the best childhood. But obviously that discrimination, racism did also play a big part.
When you say attacked by who?
Sri Lankan, either Sinhalese or Tamil, and just people just not liking Sri Lankan Muslims. I suppose it's just that trying to have the upper hand, I suppose.
Is there a dominant faith in Sri Lanka? Is there what's the dominant faith in Sri Lanka?
Sinhalese, so Buddhist.
Okay.
Yeah. So the civil war had been on forever and it's obviously died down now, but there were always, throughout my childhood, you always hear about people being attacked, mosques being attacked. It was, unfortunately, it was a normal. Like you always hear about it and you always see it in the news. And then after we moved here, you're still very much connected to Sri Lanka. I used to always hear about it. It's quite sad, but that's the reality that we lived in.
So you were pretty young when you got here.
Yeah.
What was the reason that your parents decided to shift from Sri Lanka to New Zealand?
So my mom studied to be an early childhood teacher with the intention of migrating at that time. So back in 2001, then when she migrated, I believe the policy is that as you apply for work visa, your family also can come through. I believe that's I should have actually asked my parents properly before I got here. But anyway, I'm here. So, I think for them, it was just that, if I can provide a better opportunity for my children, I will. Yeah. And, so that's what my parents did. We migrated here and us, being kids, we were really looking forward to coming here. A big part was, New Zealand was advertised as this, green country cows, the whole, Anchor milk and cheese, that was it. That was how it was advertised. But also on the other hand, for me, I just thought, wow, I can actually go to a country and be okay with being dressed as a Muslim and not being hated upon. So that was also like in the back of my mind. I just thought, I can go somewhere.
Wow, that's powerful.
Because going back to Sri Lanka, the school that I went to, they wouldn't let us dress like how I dress now. So they wouldn't let us wear the hijab and we just had to wear their clothing that adhered to their religion. There were a lot of pockets of discrimination growing up. So I think coming here and then being able to dress how I wanted to dress was a big thing for me. That was also another plus point coming here, and I enjoyed having that. And
how old were you when you got here?
11. So I did decide to wear my hijab because I just thought, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And obviously to this day I still wear it, and I love that. So 2001 June, that's when we got here. So I was just like, I loved it. We were having the best time ever. And I remember our school principal, she'd come and show us around the school. That was so not normal back in Sri Lanka. Like, principals don't do that there. And so for me, I just felt like, wow, everyone's accepting, everyone's loving. And then fast forward to September 2001, the 9/11 attacks happened. And that just shifted. It was almost like I was back in square one, back to being hated.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So it's I'm thinking about it now, quite a difficult childhood in terms of trying to figure out who you are. Like, I think I figured out who I am, and then I'm like back to square one because I'm like, oh, wait, we're being hated on again. But I don't think I let that get to me. I still carried on.
Well, what exactly happened? Like, so obviously 2001,
Yeah.
9/11 hits. You were here in New Zealand as a young girl.
Yeah.
Pre-puberty.
Yeah.
Years, and you still were you experiencing bullying? Were you experiencing
no, not from my school, not from my family, but I think generally in the public, there was that tension towards Muslims, and my parents were really paranoid of going out being identified as Muslims because they're scared, and you can understand their experiences have also been the same, and then now they're in a country where they're supposed to feel safe, but then they're still scared. That element of, okay, don't wear the scarf. Then I was like, no. And then I remember I used to actually wear my hoodie. So then you can't see that I'm wearing my scarf, and I'd walk home and whatnot. But I still wore my scarf, which it's a part of me. It's my identity at the end of the day. And I still stand strong today because of that and my faith. So I do believe that had a big part to play in my journey as myself. But no, apart from that, I remember my school, my friends, even the family there in Christchurch, just beautiful. It was just a really nice childhood to grow up in, despite of all the chaos that was happening around in the world, to put it that way. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, you give me
a lot to say.
No, this is you give me so much to chew on in the beginning. I'm like, I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
That's only the beginning.
I'm just like, man. I mean, aside from the bald head, I'm feeling like Oprah right now. I'm really like feeling. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this conversation. Yeah. Okay, so all right. So we have just for a timeline. So you came over here at 11. Then 9/11 hit a couple of
a couple of
years
months.
later. A couple of months. Oh, just a couple of months after that. Wow.
And I remember we actually watched it in class.
Yeah.
The teacher put the TV on, and then I'm like, what is this? And then on top of that, Muslim. And I was just like, oh no.
Interesting.
It's like, do I have to answer to this? You feel that
so
responsibility.
Scary.
But then I just I'm not going to answer this. It's not what I did.
I've never thought about how a Muslim would have felt watching it, because me and you have similar stories of how that happened, like how we experienced it. Because basically, at that time, I was in America, we called it a sophomore. That's the second year in high school. I literally I didn't do my homework the night before, so I came in excited when I saw that TV on, because I was like, if the TV's on, that means watching the movie, and if we're watching the movie, I can do my homework while this movie is on. And then I just saw all these explosions. And I was like, what's this, Lethal Weapon? What's this? And I'm doing my homework. I was like, Bruce Willis made another movie? I'm doing my homework. Oh, this is good, man. What's this? They were like, this is not a movie, man. This is actually happening. This is the news.
It was like a movie.
And I was like, no, man, look at that CGI, man. Look at all that. And I kept going. I kept typing. I didn't believe them until I saw the news. It was the news lady, the anchor. She comes back on. She's talking. And as she's talking, the second plane hits. And she's panicked. She didn't even know how to read her teleprompter anymore. She's like, oh my gosh, the second plane just hit. And that's when I put the pen down and I realized that it was real. But never did I ever think that I'd be sitting next to somebody who is of a Muslim faith and actually has a similar story. They also are watching it, but not...
But then on the other hand, I was a 11-year-old girl. I had other things to worry about. Like how I looked, boys. There were so many other things going on that I was like, this is kind of the last thing I need to worry about, answering to people about why do Muslims do this. But the straight answer is, look, that's not part of our religion. So if one person decides to do that, that doesn't represent us.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really, really big sin to hurt people. And I just thought, look, if I can just lead my life the way how I interpret Islam, then that's all I can do, really. I'm not going to shout at the top of my voice going, that's wrong, that's wrong. I will lead the life that I think should be it's a good representation of Islam and Muslims. And yeah, I'll be happy with that. So,
oh man. Yeah. So you guys came over here as what profession did your parents?
So my mum's an early childhood teacher. So she came in through the working visa, and she worked as an early childhood teacher. Okay. Whereas my dad, he came in, he did a lot of odd jobs, and that itself was, really. I wouldn't say sad, but he's a really hard worker.
What did he do back home?
So he was the manager of the Rabe estate. So he didn't do any physical like labor work. He was more like, telling people what to do. He's really good at that, by the way. Yeah. He'll tell people what to do. He'll stand there. And then watching him come to New Zealand and do jobs like working in factories, and I think the most difficult one was working in a vineyard in Christchurch. And you can imagine 5 o'clock in the morning, really cold, frosty, really hard working conditions. So he did all that, and he worked a lot of odd jobs, obviously with the intention of trying to make us a better life. And they did. They made us a beautiful life.
So you got settled in Christchurch when you got here?
Yeah. Yes.
Like I said, I did a little bit of homework before this episode, and I did notice that is where the first Muslim family, who came here to New Zealand in the mid 1800s, they actually settled in Christchurch as well. And there was a lot of, and to this day, and for some reason, Christchurch has been, a place where a lot of similar families, come to migrate and stay. Yeah. Then eventually, spread out across New Zealand and Auckland. When did you guys move to Auckland?
So I moved here 2018 just to go to uni. That was the intention. And then I just ended up living here. So, and my family's here too. Yeah, they moved with us. They won't let us move out.
I've only heard 25% of your story, and I'm already so inspired by you.
Oh, thank you.
The fact of the matter is, like, to make it through that, and then to come from a place with that much turmoil and that much conflict, and then questioning yourself, and then coming to New Zealand, having a sense of hope, and then having it crushed
again
immediately, and then still ending up where you are. You're educating other people, you're changing lives. Teachers are, probably one of the most underrated positions in the world, and they changed. They literally shaped. They're the real superheroes of the world. I still remember my teachers growing up. My favorite teachers. I still remember them. I'm a grown man, and I still think about. The teachers I had at that time, when I was 8 and I was 9. So I commend you. So I guess what we need to know at this point is let's talk about highs and lows. I always ask everyone the same question about highs and lows and, cultural fit, which we kind of already touched on. So let's just fast forward a little bit into your teenage years, late teenage, early 20s. Let's go. Let's get a cultural fit picture of a high, a high point.
Yeah, because I think that's worth talking about. So I think I am the only female that went to uni, or have been not allowed to go to uni, but the opportunity in my immediate family to go to uni. And with that comes quite a lot of speculation, like, oh, is she going to go off the rails? What is she going to do?
Off the rails?
Oh yeah, it's quite a normal thing. So from quite an early age, my parents did have that expectation that, look, when you hit a certain age, you are going to get married. That is our expectation from you. And it was actually my mum that suggested to be a teacher, because I thought she thought at that time that would work well around your life as a mum.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't resent them for that, because I think for them, look, they're trying to build our life, and they have been building our life for such a long time. Plus they uprooted us and brought us to another country that they're not familiar with.
Yeah.
So I don't actually blame them for the decisions that they made in terms of, you must do this. This is my expectation. Like quite a lot of pressure on me to do certain things. So I actually did get married very young. That was an arranged marriage. I should be open about these things as well. But
how young?
19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was 19.
I've heard younger.
I went married. But again, it's your life experiences that make you who you are today. So yeah, I was open to that idea, and it was it was a normal thing. a normal thing for girls to get married young. And that was something I accepted from quite a young age. I just thought, yeah, that's what we do. And that's what I would do to make my parents proud because they did so much for me.
Oh.
But, I went into it wholeheartedly. I knew, I was like, I accepted the whole idea of being a young mum, and all those things didn't really faze me because I am quite driven in other ways. Like I still wanted to finish my degree. I still wanted to finish my teaching degree and then go on to be a teacher. So I still had all that in the back burner whilst being a mum and trying to be a wife and a daughter and all of the other things I was juggling. So I never felt I would get behind with my goals. I was always like, no, I'm going to still have my goals and still have their meet the expectation, but then also have my things going on in the back that I like. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I happen to know something about Mariam that you guys don't know. And I know that she is a CrossFit warrior.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I am.
Can we please
in my
talk
head,
about
I am.
that? Because look, if you were to judge a book by its cover, and I know y'all judging the book by its cover, if you were to look at her, you do not see CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing.
Now
Like,
take my cape off. No, I'm
take the
kidding.
camera. Like honestly, man, like that's amazing. How did that happen?
Well, without upsetting a lot of people, unfortunately, my marriage didn't work out. And again, these are things that culturally it's such a hush hush. We don't talk about those things, and you'll get locked in a room and not seen. But then I think I still want to show girls like, look, sometimes things don't work out, and sometimes you just need to pick yourself up and move on.
That's right.
And I hope I show that, especially to the girls from my Sri Lankan Muslim culture, that it's okay. Sometimes things don't work out and you just have to come out of that and you become a better person. So that and kind of CrossFit intersected at the same time, which is quite funny that I think about it now. So anyway, I discovered this thing called CrossFit and I didn't even know it existed, but I got into it. And then I think, again, that family, my CrossFit family was so welcoming.
Yeah.
And when I do CrossFit, I am covered. I do wear my hijab. I am the only person there, but I don't feel any different.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. If a group of people decide to acknowledge each other for each other's differences, but work together, I think that's quite strong in itself. So that's how my journey began in CrossFit. And I went on to compete. And that was quite scary because obviously I was the only person covered in the whole competition, even though it's in Auckland. But then again, going in with that, it's almost like an army. You're going in with your army, with your family, fit mums, fit com. Then you just feel like, I'm a part of this family and they love me and they accept me and I'm going to go out there and do my best.
Well, how did you do? How the competition go?
I've done lots of competitions. I love it. I enjoy it. And also going out there and I think representing Muslims in a different light and making people think, oh, well, I didn't know you guys did that.
I was just thinking the same thing. That is absolutely amazing. So, I mean, from what I'm hearing, you never really had a problem, with cultural fit. You've never really had it because you as an individual.
So I think I don't go out of my way to make myself fit. This is who I am.
This is who I am.
And I will fit into, and I will sit amongst you. But this is who I am. I'm not going to change myself to fit you. But I'm very respectful of you and your culture and all of that. So same goes to my gym family. Same goes to where I work because it's predominantly a Māori whanau. But I will sit there and I will respect your culture. I will make an effort to learn about you guys and, So, but this is what you get.
No, that's awesome. So out of this 21-year New Zealand, journey, where you are now, do you have any low points you want to speak on?
Low points in New Zealand specifically. We spoke about this over the phone when the March attacks happened at the mosque. I think as a country, we all grieved, isn't it? Yeah. So I wouldn't say that's my low point. I think that was one of New Zealand's as an overall low point.
So let's get another timeline. So obviously the Christchurch shootings happened in March 2019. Yeah. Let's go. What were you doing a year before that? Like how was life for you generally in New Zealand a year before that happened?
I was working at, I am working at Te Kura Māori o Ngā Tapuai. I was working as the head of mathematics there.
Yeah.
And I think I really built myself a family there. And it is my family because I don't feel any different going in. I'm like, yeah, you're one of us. Like, yes. And life was good in the sense of, always had CrossFit as well. So I think a lot of, all aspects of my life has been solidified with this aspect of whanau, like family.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is me, this is who I am, and I'm working together with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so when the attacks did happen, of course, it was a shock to all of us. But the fact that that Monday, I didn't even hesitate going into work.
Really?
Yeah, no, I went to work because that's my family. That's my, when I didn't even hesitate until one of my colleagues told me, I didn't think you'd come to work. And then I had to stop and think like, oh, I'm at work. But I didn't feel that because it's like I felt safe to go. Like I wanted to go to work. I didn't want to stay home because I wanted to be around people that I trust and people that know they have my back. So I think I don't know if a lot of people have that what's the word, luxury, in life. But yeah.
That's
and
powerful.
then a lot of my gym family, reaching out, are you guys all right? So a lot of aroha did come back after that. But yeah, it was, when I think about it now that I didn't even hesitate to go to work, because that showed a lot about, I suppose the environments that I have created for myself and how people respond to me and how I respond to people. I think that's, isn't that a result of? Yeah, it is.
That's actually the word I was about to say. I think a lot of the times when there's a tough situation, a lot of people just struggle to know how to respond. Like, how should I respond to this? Yeah. It's the responses that get people in trouble, and it's responses that make people legendary. So it's all on how you respond to the situation. And so you obviously responded powerfully in that regard. I mean, but when it was happening, I think New Zealand once again struggled to. This is coming from my perspective, from. I'm looking from the outside in, but I'm also in because I've been here for a while. I feel like New Zealand struggled to respond appropriately in the beginning.
Okay.
Because it was just like, oh yeah, let's all focus on the shooter and who is he?
Yeah.
Where did he come from? So they start condemning the shooter and then he's Australian. Trying to do that. Then they start focusing on the people, the victims, this and this and that. But I think you actually. Yeah, you did something that's really brave. Because if it was me, I definitely wouldn't have come to work, the next day.
And also, I have 2 young children, and I didn't want them to feel that mom's scared or like this is scary. I was like, look, it happened. Let's just move on and go as your life. Because I don't really believe in if a negative thing does happen, I don't believe in that completely overshadowing your life and taking over your life. I think there are pockets where you can turn it into a positive or get on with your life. So that was another big thing. I really didn't want to show my kids, even though that weekend I didn't go anywhere. I was scared. But come Monday.
How old were they at the time?
They 9 at that time.
Oh man,
9 and
So they would be full aware. 9 and
5.
Oh, they'll be full aware to know.
They were. And they did go to school, and they were scared because everybody else was scared, and they were probably like, "Why isn't Mum scared?" But I.
Well, why weren't you scared? I'm just like, man, that is.
I think it's. I wasn't scared because, I mean, this is my home now. Like, this is where I live. And yes, what happened was really unfortunate. But again, going back to my life, when I was a young girl, that happened in my town. People were murdered because they were Muslims, and we still had to go on. So I think that built resilience throughout my life. Was like, okay, it happened, and we just have to move on. Yeah, no, I think for me, I had that built-in resilience because of my life experience. I won't necessarily know how it might affect my children until they're older.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So so that happened, and you guys responded to it. I've always wanted to ask, someone from the Muslim community.
Yeah.
What were your actual thoughts about this potential movie that was going to be made? Did you?
I just think, well, going back to the victim. So I actually personally know a victim that from the attacks because I grew up in Christchurch. We would go to that mosque every Sunday to learn Arabic, and Farid Ahmed, who is a well-known spokesperson now, who speaks a lot about what happened. He was our teacher, so this was literally our childhood.
Yeah.
You know, and to see that happening was. Again, so I mean, of course, it's really, really hard, but then you also have to understand my experiences. It's stuff that I've always known about.
You were accustomed to it.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. So anyway, I think, so actually when it first happened and people started putting in photos, how the 50 photos in the grid or 51.
Yes.
And I would see Husna's photo, and it would appear twice. And I know, look, people don't even know what they're doing. And it did annoy me at that time because you actually have to really pay tribute to the people that have passed away. And so it was just a lot of, everyone's just throwing out information, and it did annoy me at the beginning. So the movie would definitely annoy me because I don't really think you'll ever capture a person fully. And how much justice will you do? Because that lady did a lot for us growing up. So, I mean, would you really know that person? Because I only known her for a short time, but now you're going to make a movie and you don't even know her.
You don't even know her, yeah.
And that would really annoy me. Because if that little thing annoyed me, knowing I've only known her for such a short time, imagine her family and how they would feel. And I just think, look, if you're going to do a movie, you just got to go. And either you go full on documentary from the time they were born to really pay tribute to them, or I just don't think it would capture anything. I don't think it'll capture anything except back to that 9/11, watching it on TV. It'll just be like that again.
It's going to be just like that. It's just going to stir up a lot of negative emotion. Because I think going back to the whole response thing, I think that was just someone's way of responding. And I think it was distasteful, to be honest. Like
I didn't really appreciate the images. No, I didn't appreciate it. I'm sorry. It's just, it was just... it was not your call. It was the family's call to put out a photo.
Yeah.
And you can't help but think, if that happened to me, I don't want my children's photos or my dad or my mum's photos being circulated among people that I don't even know. You don't know them. So why are you putting photos and information that you think you know about them? Yeah. So it doesn't sit well. But unfortunately, social media does that. And that's probably something as humanity we have to come to terms with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you feel like the Muslim community here in New Zealand has healed from the Christchurch shootings?
No. I'm still quite raw about the emotion. So I don't really think, no.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a low point. I think we've had enough low points. we hit our low point quota at this point. So look, let's go back and talk about a New Zealand culture, like a something that's really ingrained in New Zealand culture that you just can't get your head around or never have gotten your head around, even though you've been here for this long. It could be good or bad, but
we'll go back.
Most likely it could be funny.
We'll go back to 2001, when I first moved here. That's when the whole thing, that's when it started happening, But now I'm like, it's normal now. But back then, it's like, people do this? I think the first thing I mentioned was going to school, like going to Shirley Intermediate School.
Yeah.
And then having, the principal speak to us. And that was really strange. That doesn't happen. And then how open everyone is, and teachers are just willing to go out of their way to help you. I was like, is this normal? Is this what people do? And then
is this what people do?
Is this what people do?
This actually happens.
Show me around. Okay, am I that important? And then that's the thing, to make you feel like a person. And then come away from school, and then my mum and dad would take us to garage sales every weekend. It's like people selling stuff out of their homes. And we can buy it.
Yes.
And they're so nice, they'll just give it to you.
Yes, you can buy it. They give it to you if you don't have enough.
First pair of roller skates. And that was so cool. There's a lot of things that happen, and you're like, wow, this is so cool. This is just like the movies.
Yeah. Can I add one in?
Yeah.
How about the fact that in the summertime, when it's hot Kiwi people leave their front doors wide open. I just could not get over that. The first time I got here, and I saw that. I saw that in 2010 for the first time. Like, because where I'm from, it doesn't matter how hot it is, you are not leaving your front door wide open.
And also your car.
And your car. Unlocked. People going inside of the... How about people going inside a countdown without shoes? People going to get groceries without shoes on. I'm like, what is actually happening here? I can't get my head around it, but I've grown to just love it when I see it.
Yeah. And then also like coming here, like, obviously Kiwi culture was very much dominant. And then I discovered, the whole Māori culture, which is actually not really, I suppose, showcased, if you were to say that. But then when I started learning about their culture, and I was just like, this is so cool.
It is.
Like, how come people didn't tell me that?
It is.
But yeah. So I loved that. I loved the whole learning of a lot of things. So yeah. Oh, there was a lot of learning. Yeah. But
I got a chance to learn a haka one time. I did a haka.
Nice.
Did a whole haka, man. It was like, and then I went back to the States and showed my friends. They were like, are you okay? Are you sick? Why are you yelling at me and why's your tongue out? They just didn't understand.
Yes.
But I was just like, man, this is what they do down there, man. It's the haka. And I was just like,
get your wairua out.
They were like, hey, bro, calm down. Get you some water. Just sit down. But no, it's definitely a unique place.
And also like, the place names. It was actually not so much in Christchurch, more in Auckland. There's a lot of Māori place names. And I think it's important that just as you learn Te Reo Pākehā, just as you learn English, you have to make an effort to learn Te Reo Māori. And it can start with your place names like Mangere, things like little things like that. You don't have to go on fully mihi like I did, but you got to learn at least pay tribute to where you live, and the Māori words, to take some time to pronounce them and try to pronounce it properly.
There was a guy who taught me something a couple of years ago about that, and he said that the people who struggle in New Zealand, or in any nation for that matter, are the people who migrate from another place but never actually settle. They never actually they never accept the culture. They never try to change their ways. They're just continually trying to, mimic where they came from. Never actually just take in. So you're right. You got to take it in. You got to take it in.
Yeah, and it's a balance as well. I'm not saying completely submerge yourself into the culture. I think that it's a balancing act, and I hope I balance it well. Like I think I have a bit of both. And and that works. That works for me. So that's what you got to find.
You definitely balance it well. I can tell you that. Now I've known you for 90 minutes. So you definitely balance it really well.
I hope so.
All right. So just as I got to get ready to land this plane. So
sure.
What would you say? Like speaking to, because like I told you on the phone, like right now, you speaking to, people who may come to New Zealand. You're speaking to people who are living abroad, connected to New Zealand already. You're speaking to, obviously, you're speaking to the Muslim community who will be watching this. So I guess, can you talk to two different groups of people? What type of tips and tricks? You can answer it separately, but I guess I want to know, like, if you, a generalization of people who are thinking about migrating to New Zealand, what would you say to them? And then the same thing, but for someone like yourself who's from the Muslim community, what would you say to them? Or even a Sri Lankan Muslim. You can even speak to that as well.
Well, I mean, I feel like being Muslims and Islam has that sort of built-in lifestyle for us. It's already there for us. It's nothing to invent. So I think for me, reflecting back on my life now, the fact that I did accept and practice a lot of that throughout my life definitely helped me to become who I am today in terms of identity. So I think I'm quite strong in my identity, but at the same time, I'm very much open to the other cultures that I'm a part of. So I don't think there's any, there's no point of you forgetting about who you are and where you come from. I think it's a matter of showcasing who you are and then finding, okay, how am I going to fit there rather than the other way around? How's it going to fit me? It was like, how did I say that the right way? It's like, how can that fit me? Sorry. How can that fit me? It's not the other way around. The moment you start doing it the other way around, that's when you kind of start to break down. It's like, okay, how is that situation going to fit me? My ideologies, my, my beliefs, but not, compromising anything. And I think there's always a way. I think that's the beauty of New Zealand, isn't it? There's always some room for everyone, give and take. And there's always that matter of acknowledgement. I don't know about acceptance, but definitely that acknowledgement of different cultures, different people, ethnicities. So that's there. So for people that are hoping to come, I just say, look, you come here, but you also got to pay tribute to tangata whenua. Like, we have quite a strong Maori culture here.
Yes.
Being a part of that, making an effort to know where do you live, what's your history, what's the, the meaning behind all the names that are not in English. That's important. I think when you start doing that, you'll start feeling a connection with the land. And I think that's important.
That's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think generally for me, I've had a really positive experience living here. And I would just say, yes, come.
It's home. Yeah.
Come, yes. And there's a lot of room for hard work. You can work hard, you can build yourself up. And I think having that is also quite important, because I don't really know if I would be able to do what I'm doing now if I lived back in Sri Lanka. I don't know if I will be have those opportunities or that community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoy that here.
What do you think you'd be doing back home if you were still there?
Probably have a few more kids. Yeah. And probably look after them, because that's the normality there. And if I did have an opportunity to do something, I would definitely do it. But I don't know if I would ever even I definitely won't be doing CrossFit. No way. I don't think. No.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say, or anything else you want to speak to? Or even to the existing Sri Lankan community here? Because there's a lot of Sri Lankans here in New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh, I think they all know me.
They all know you?
That crazy lady now. No, I think they all know me and love me. And and just to be a contributing member.
Yeah.
Not to your own community, but a contributing member to all the communities that you're a part of. That's important to me as well. So not just giving back to people giving back to everyone and helping everyone who is a part of your entire community. So I think that's another thing as well, giving back.
Thank you, man. Well, look, that was another episode of Immigration Status Podcast. This is Wonder Woman, aka
No, I'm not.
Mariam Bahar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For your
Thank
time.
you for having me.
Wow, that was such an amazing episode. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to sit here and listen to someone who actually not only knew someone who was involved in the Christchurch shootings, but also had the courage and the bravery to come to work the next day and continue on being who she was before the situation, not allowing that event to mold who she was or mold anyone else's perspective of the Muslim community. Special thanks to our sponsors, the Uranga Group, Ministries for Ethnic Communities, and also want to thank Navigators Group, and also want to thank Campfire Studios for providing this wonderful facility. Hey guys, look out for more content like this. It's definitely on the way, way more provocative episodes on the way. I can't give away too much right now, but please, in the meantime, like and subscribe to all of our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channels, share the content, because there's something special happening here.